I would like to thank Prime Minister Zaidan for his visit today, together with the delegation made up of very high-profile ministers. Meetings took place between yesterday and today and will continue even after this press conference on a wide variety of subjects, which we have already touched upon during our meeting this morning. We have already, as you have witnessed, signed an agreement, a memorandum of understanding, which we believe is crucial for the well-being of the relationship between the two countries and will be beneficial for both our countries. It is an agreement that does really put forward and makes a quantum leap in this relationship between the two people. When myself and my ministers first visited Libya some weeks ago, we were given a word by Mr. Zaidan, who committed himself to giving Malta preferential status when it comes to energy products. We are thankful and impressed by the fact that in just a few weeks we have managed to iron out this agreement. This agreement that shows that from words we have jumped to action. It is a memorandum of understanding that puts forward a number of key agreements, the details of which will start being ironed out immediately and amongst others during the next joint commission meeting in Tripoli. The agreement specifies that Malta will be supplied by Libya for an amount of oil products with favorable terms and conditions. These oil products include processed and crude oil, diesel, petrol, jet fuel, and LPG. This agreement will kick in place, will be implemented as soon as Libya starts its full production, and the production of oil products in Libya resume under normal conditions, which should take place in the very near future. This is a very concrete measure by means of which this government will make sure that our energy provider, Malta, is on a sound footing that will also help shield Maltese consumers and companies from excessive fluctuations in the world market for fuels. It will help us in the next few months stabilize the price of fuel for the benefit of our economy and of our families. We are also looking forward to expanding this agreement as specified in the MOU to LPG. LPG, which is supplied locally in gas cylinders, which we know that there is an issue with its pricing, and we do hope that we will be able to expand this agreement as already specified to LPG. The agreement also specifies that a more medium to long-term objective, that of Malta becoming a center by means of which Libya can service Europe in the energy sector. This is a medium to long-term objective where we are resetting the policy objectives of our country. Until now, Malta has looked always north when it comes to its energy requirements. Now we're looking south. During the next few months, we will have the interconnector in place. There are funds and the possibilities for a gas interconnection too with Europe, we're looking forward to making now a juncture to the south, whereby Malta can become a hub for energy and a place from which our friends can supply the rest of Europe. We have also made another important step forward by agreeing in principle to consider joint activity to exploring the potential for oil and gas in disputed areas between our two countries. This is something that we know will take time, but this is, we believe, an important step forward that might break an impasse that has been there for many decades now. It goes also hand in hand with an initiative that has already been undertaken by Malta with our Italian partners to go for a similar model of resolution north of in the northern part of our territory. We have agreed that Malta will serve as a center for servicing the Libyan industry, oil and gas industry, when it comes to English language. And we look forward to transforming the Tajorni Center, amongst other things, and equipping, making the necessary equipment and upgrading so that Malta can help service the oil and gas industry in Libya with English language capabilities. This is a groundbreaking memorandum of understanding on which we will have to work to iron out the details in the coming weeks. We have also put forward ideas which we believe are of mutual benefit, most prominently in the aviation sector. That is something that the next few weeks there will be a delegation which the transport minister, the Libyan transport minister, will be sending over to Malta, where our transport minister will be hosting them to see how best to help the Libyan aviation industry being serviced from Malta and other opportunities that might arise. We have also discussed the possibility of mutual cooperation in health. There are some concrete ideas coming up, and a delegation from Libya will be coming up soon here to Malta to discuss very concretely an opportunity that might arise for both countries in this area. Obviously, we discussed visas. Obviously, we discussed illegal immigration. That is where I am deeply satisfied by the fact that Prime Minister Zaidan renewed his commitment to making sure that this problem, this issue, is tackled in an effective manner. We agree that this is not a Libyan issue. This is a wider issue where Europe must take a stand. And during the next few weeks, we do hope that we can continue with the initiatives we have already started with our Italian and Greek counterparts, and we have invited the Libyan Prime Minister to join forces with us and with our Italian and Greek colleagues to make sure that we have a joint initiative so that Libya has the necessary backup to make sure that this issue is solved in a multilateral situation. We have also discussed the worrying situation in Syria and in the Middle East, where the position of my government is crystal clear. we were interested in learning the Libyan perspective to the situation that is brewing in our neighborhood. And we look forward to collaborating even further in the next visits, Prime Minister.
أولا سيد رئيس الوزراء أشكرك على الدعوة وعلى حرارة الاستقبال وحسن الضيافة، وأتمنى أن تستمر العلاقة بيننا وبين الجارة مالطا قوية وحيوية وفعالة في مجال التعاون. بداية أود أن أشكر دولة مالطا والشعب المالطي على الدور المهم الذي لعبته مالطا جارة في دعمنا أثناء فترة الثورة، سواء فيما يتعلق باستقبال العديد من الليبيين الذين أتوا إلى هنا، أو فيما يتعلق باستقبال عدد من الطيارين الذين اضطروا إلى النزول في مالطا عندما رفضوا أوامر القذافي بقصف مواطنيهم، أو خلال المسار الطويل من العمليات الإنسانية في تزويد مصراتة بالمواد الغذائية.
First of all, we would like to thank you for the kind invitation, and we hope to continue to strengthen our relationship and keep it strong and effective. We would like to thank Malta for its significant role during the revolution of Libya, especially by welcoming the number of Libyans who came to Malta, as well as the pilots who chose to refuge to Malta, as well as the humanitarian operations that were conducted in Misrata.
نأتي هنا لندعم العلاقة بيننا وبين مالطا الجارة ونؤكدها، ونحاول إيجاد كافة الوسائل والتدابير من أجل استمرارها في أفضل الأحوال، سواء في الجانب الاقتصادي أو الجانب السياسي أو جانب التدريب، الجانب التعليمي، التعاون الفني والتقني في شتى المجالات. نحن وقعنا محضر تفاهم أو اتفاقية إطارية للتعاون ستطبق تفاصيلها في المستقبل القريب، شملت التزويد بالنفط، وهو تزويد حسب الشروط التي تم الاتفاق عليها، كذلك التدريب واستعمال ماحة التجورني والتدريب في المجالات الأخرى، سواء فيما يتعلق بالطيران أو بالتدريب في تمكين العاملين في مجال النفط من تطوير لغتهم الإنجليزية هنا في مالطا.
We would like to first of all boost our relationship with neighboring Malta with regards to on the basis of the economic basis, political, educational, cultural and technical. We also signed the Memorandum of Understanding today, which we will work on its implementation very soon. We are very looking forward to boost the oil and gas relationship based on the conditions that we agreed on as well. Most of all, we also mentioned the refurbishment of Tajorni Institute and aviation, as well as training in the oil and gas industry.
أنا لن آتي على التفاصيل في كل ما قيل، فالسيد رئيس الوزراء عدد بنود الاتفاقية وتفاصيلها، ولكن سآتي على بعض الموضوعات المهمة التي تم نقاشها.
I will not go into detail with what the agreement was all about, but I will tackle the important issues that were discussed.
لأن السيد رئيس الوزراء تعرض لهذه المسألة بالتفصيل.
Because the Honourable Prime Minister already mentioned the details.
يعني تعرض لها بالتفصيل.
So,
تعرض لها بالتفصيل.
He already mentioned it in a detailed manner.
من المسائل المهمة التي تعرضنا لها هي الهجرة غير الشرعية، وقد أبدى السيد رئيس الوزراء يعني قلق من هذا الأمر. وحيال هذا الموضوع أود أن أقول الآتي: ليبيا بعد الثورة وبعد ما حدث فيها أصبح الجانب الأمني مسألة مهمة للإقليم بكامله، لإقليم شمال أفريقيا والبحر المتوسط والساحل والصحراء.
First of all, I would like to speak about illegal immigration, to which the Prime Minister showed increasing worry about this issue. I would like to mention that Libya after the revolution, the security of Libya after the revolution has become a very important issue with regards to the coastline as well as the Saharan desert.
ما أريد أن أقول أن أمن ليبيا الآن مسألة إقليمية دولية.
The issue of security, Libyan security, right now, it's an issue of very high importance.
فليبيا تواجه الآن الإرهاب والإرهاب عبر الحدود.
Libya is facing terrorism and terrorism across the borders.
التصفيات التي حدثت، حوادث الاغتيال التي حدثت في الأيام الماضية هي اغتيالات إرهابية.
The killings that were done in the past years were done on a terrorist basis.
نفذها إرهابيون ضد مواطنين أبرياء.
Conducted by the terrorists against the innocent population.
سواء كانوا هؤلاء الإرهابيون مواطنون ليبيون أم أجانب.
This with disregarding whether they were Libyan terrorists or foreign terrorists.
وبالتالي قضية مواجهة هذه الظاهرة ينبغي أن يتعاون معنا فيها المجتمع الدولي، خاصة أوروبا وبلدان البحر المتوسط.
And therefore, one should face this issue internationally based on, be it the European Union or on an international basis.
فالتعاون في هذا المجال هو تعاون من أجل أمن المنطقة بما فيها البحر المتوسط وأوروبا.
So cooperation in this issue should be done on an international basis.
ورغم أن التعاون مع أوروبا الآن مع أصدقائنا في أوروبا تعاون مهم وتعاون فعال.
So the cooperation that we are having with the European Union is a strong cooperation and effective.
ولكنه يظل أقل من القدر الذي نستطيع أن نواجه به هذه الظاهرة.
But it still remains less than the level that we would like it to be.
خاصة في ظروف ضعف مؤسسات الدولة الليبية بعد حرب الثورة.
Especially in the situation that the Libyan enterprises and the government are having at this moment.
أقول هذا من مالطا متوجها به لكل الأصدقاء ولكل من يعنيهم أمر المنطقة وأمر أمن ليبيا.
I'm saying this from Malta to all the friends and parties who care about this situation, this issue.
وبالتالي تعاون هؤلاء مسألة ضرورية ولازمة الآن.
And thus cooperation from these parties is very significant.
كما قلت لن أتحدث في التفاصيل التي تحدث عنها السيد رئيس الوزراء.
As I already mentioned, I will not go into detail on the agreement.
لن أعيدها يعني.
Yes, I will not go into detail again.
يعني سوف لن أعيدها. I'm not going to repeat it.
نعم.
ولكن أؤكد على جلها.
But I ensure its importance.
وأؤكد على أننا عندنا نية أكيدة في التعاون مع مالطا وفي إيجاد علاقة وطيدة في مختلف مجالات الاقتصاد والأمن والسياسة والمواصلات وكافة أفق التعاون.
But I ensure our strong intention to move forward with this agreement on the several bases that they were discussed upon, including the economy, security, politics and transport.
وأكدنا للسيد رئيس الوزراء أن نحن تعاوننا في مجال مقاومة الهجرة غير الشرعية وفي مقاومة الإرهاب وفي مقاومة أي أمر من شأنه يخل أمن المنطقة سيكون تعاون وثيق.
And we have agreed together with the Prime Minister that the issues like illegal immigration and terrorism will be tackled in a significant way.
نحن سعداء جدا بزيارة مالطا باسمي وباسم الزملاء السادة الوزراء.
Okay, on behalf of myself and the delegation from Libya, we are very pleased to be in Malta.
معي السيد وزير الاقتصاد.
I was accompanied by the Minister for Transport.
والسيد وزير المواصلات.
And the Transport and the Economy.
والسيد وزير النفط.
And the Minister for Oil and Gas.
وأحد مساعدي المدير الإدارة الأوروبية في وزارة الخارجية.
And with several assistants as well.
ومدير مكتب رئيس الوزراء.
And the head of the Office of the Prime Minister.
وقبل أيام كان عدد من الوزراء زار مالطا، وزير الصحة، وزيرة السياحة، وعدد من الوزراء الآخرين.
And in the past few weeks, several other ministers have visited Malta, including the Minister for Health and Tourism.
كما كانت هناك زيارات لنائب رئيس الوزراء ووزير الخارجية.
As well as visits by the Deputy Minister and the Minister for Foreign Affairs.
كل هذا يعني يعزز أو يعني يترجم رغبتنا الأكيدة في تطوير العلاقة مع مالطا وتوطيدها.
And all this translates to our strong intention to boost our bilateral relationships.
وأؤكد أن التنفيذ العملي لهذه العلاقة من خلال جملة من الإجراءات في المستقبل سيبين أن العلاقة مع مالطا ستأخذ منحى جديد يرتكز على التعاون المثمر والفعال.
And I also ensure that the implementation of this agreement will also further boost our relationship, and it will act as a new step to a new level of the relationship.
نحن اهتماماتنا بقضية الشرق الأوسط، الوضع في سوريا، التعاون الأوروبي المتوسطي، التعاون بين شمال وجنوب المتوسط، كل هذه المواضيع مواضيع مشتركة نشترك فيها مع جيراننا الآخرين، وسيكون لها حضور في علاقتنا.
And all our intentions and interests in what's going on in the Middle East, as well as, for example, in Syria, cooperation with the north and the south of the Mediterranean, where all this will show our similar interests.
أيضا ما يجري في تونس، ما يجري في مصر، كل هذه المسائل تم نقاشها، ونحن على توافق تام في كثير منها، خاصة وأننا نسعى إلى إرساء السلم واحترام حقوق الإنسان في المنطقة.
And other countries as well, like Tunisia and Egypt, were also discussed, and it showed that we have similar interests and views.
يعني ترتكز على السلم واحترام حقوق الإنسان.
And all this shows our respect to the human rights.
والسلم، السلام.
Human rights and peace.
شكرا جزيلا.
For the Prime Minister, is this part and parcel of your plans for the future conversion to gas? I mean, is this part of the broader reform you want to carry out in this area? And how significant is this agreement in that respect?
فيما يتعلق بالهجرة غير الشرعية نحن نقصدها. الهجرة غير الشرعية.
So on this, with regards to the illegal immigration.
وهي يعني هم أمني وإنساني.
So it's an issue based on security and humanitarian.
ماذا نريد من أوروبا في الجانب الأمني أو من الأصدقاء في الجانب الأمني؟ نريد التعاون في المجال الاستخباري، في مجال التدريب، في مجال التأهيل، في مجال التجهيزات، في يعني التعاون. تفضلي تكلمي.
We would like the cooperation with regards to the preparations for such incidents, expertise amongst others.
وفي الجانب المخابراتي الاستخباري الانتليجنس.
And investigations as well.
نعم. وأيضا في جانب تبادل المعلومات.
Expertise and information.
تبادل المعلومات أيضا فيما يتعلق الاختلال الأمني يأتي من دول أخرى عبر حدودها.
And also with regards to national security, because it comes from the various sides.
يعني من وراء الحدود.
Yes, it's also behind borders.
وبالتالي نريد تعاون من أجل إقناع هذه الدول أن ترعى حدودها.
And we also would like cooperation so that we can try our best to help make the countries respect their borders.
يعني أقصد دول الجوار.
Yes, the neighboring countries, of course.
هذا ما أعتقد. فيما يتعلق بالاتفاقية النفطية، هذه اتفاقية يعني عندنا اتفاقية مع مصر، عندنا اتفاقية مع تونس مشابهة لهذا، ونحن نرى أن من واجبنا تجاه جيراننا تجاه أصدقائنا المالطيين أن نهيئ إمكانية تسهيلات في تزويد النفط بالآجل، وهذا أمر طبيعي يعني نراه من واجباتنا.
And with regards to the agreement on the oil and gas that we had just signed, it is in our interest to facilitate our relationships with neighboring countries. So it's a natural choice for us.
شكرا.
When it comes to the important question you asked, Mark, I think the first main difference that can be noticed over the past 5 months is that Malta now has an energy policy. I must say that before, this country didn't have an energy policy. It had just a semblance of one. Now we have a very concrete energy policy. Our tariff reduction plan is on target. It is independent, totally independent of the agreement we have signed today. It is on target, on time, and we will deliver as promised. But having a policy doesn't mean just having one project. It means having a number of projects. Number of projects are necessary in order to make sure that Malta, our energy provider, survives. Malta is still in a bad shape. Its credit rating is of concern to many credit rating agencies and many investors, and its credit rating has a direct effect on the credit rating of the country and of other institutions. So, not only we must aim at making sure that bills go down in a sustainable manner according to our plan, but we must make sure that Malta is on a sound footing. And the agreement signed today, together with other projects, other ideas, other initiatives we have in mind and which we are currently discussing, will aim at making Malta a sound institution that is no millstone around the neck of our economy. That is crucial. What we have agreed upon today will have a direct impact, especially on consumers and especially on small and medium-sized companies, because we aim at not eliminating, because that's practically impossible, but at cushioning the effect of unexpected spikes in world prices of oil on the prices that we pay at our fuel station. So when it comes especially to the price of petrol, to the price of diesel, of course we have made the necessary arrangements so that if Libya is not in a position to supply us with the refined products, we will be able to take the equivalent in crude and then make the necessary arrangements ourselves. The terms that have been agreed upon with our neighbors are advantageous to us, and it's the first time, I believe, in more than 22 years that Malta will have such an agreement with another country that will make us not totally reliant on the world market. So we will still procure our products from the world market, but we have a buffer now. Now we have a cushion, which I believe will need to be passed on to consumers, to small companies. Another important aspect is that we are looking at jet fuel, which is important for basically the mainstay of our economy, tourism, which will make us more competitive and will help us cushion from outside effect. And we are also putting in the option, which we will then discuss with the private operator that, or operators that have the market stands over here, in LPG, the gas being supplied in cylinders in this country. That, I think, gives a signal that we want to shield consumers as much as possible from adverse effects of the world markets. Is this a solution to everything? No. But this is a huge step forward, and the goodwill shown by Libya in helping out its small neighbor with this important and significant agreement goes to a huge distance in reinforcing the relations between the two countries and the two people. And we want to pay back. And that's why we have put in, within this agreement, what we can give back to Libya. We can give back expertise, we can give back services, we can give back points where we can come up with joint ventures together. We have discussed in a very specific manner aviation, we have discussed in a specific manner health, where we can come up with joint ventures for mutual benefit.
My question is for Prime Minister Zaidan. You have referred to migration with regards to the criminal record that is going on. Many of the migrants who arrive in Malta talk about how they pay Libyan soldiers to flee the detention centers in Libya. What measures is Libya taking to address this issue?
نحن نتخذ كثير من من الخطوات لمواجهة هذه المسألة، سواء على المستوى الأمني أو على مستوى العقوبات الجنائية لمن يحاول أن يستغل هؤلاء الناس. صحيح نحن في وضعية الآن قد لا تساعدنا كثيرا في هذا الأمر، لكن الأمر هذا يقتضي منا أن نتخذ خطوات كثيرة. نحن أي شخص يثبت أنه استغل هؤلاء الناس أو حاول يستعملهم لابد أن يواجه العقوبة الجنائية، وأيضا نفعل في كافة الأجهزة المخابراتية التي لدينا لمتابعة هذه المسألة والحد منها، وسنستمر في هذا الأمر. وأنا أتوقع مع استعادة الدولة لعافيتها ستكون الإجراءات أشد على من يحاول العبث بهؤلاء.
We are conducting several measures to face this issue, both on a security basis. We are also inducing sanctions. Right now, the situation how Libya is right now is not in our benefit. We still need more time for Libya to get back on its feet again. But it's natural that anyone who does such a thing should be sanctioned. And we are also enforcing our investigations in this matter.
نحاول من خلال الأمم المتحدة ومن خلال الأمم المتحدة المهتمة باللاجئين، يعني الهاي كوميشنر المهتم باللاجئين، أن نرتب يعني أماكن لاحتجازهم، ونحاول قدر المستطاع أن نهيئ لهم فرصة لرجوع أماكنهم التي أتوا منها. تحدثنا مع كثير من الدول التي أرسلت أو التي جاءوا منها هؤلاء اللاجئين أو هؤلاء المهاجرين، خاصة الصومال على سبيل المثال، لكي نرجع هؤلاء المهاجرين إلى بلدانهم، وهذه أيضا من الإجراءات. لكن نحن ضد استغلال هؤلاء الناس واستعمالهم الاستعمال السيء.
We are also working with the United Nations with regards to this issue of refugees. We're trying to do our best to give them, to provide suitable detention centers and the opportunity for them to go back. We try to our best to give them the opportunity for them to go back. One example is on the Somalia issue. We are doing that same thing with the United Nations.
أيضا أود أن أضيف أن نحن تحدثنا مع كثير من الدول الأوروبية حول التفكير في إيجاد تنمية مكانية في المناطق التي يأتي منها اللاجئين، وهذا أمر عالمي يمكن أن تشترك فيه كافة الدول من أجل تمكين هؤلاء الناس أن يستقروا في أماكنهم بمشاريع تنموية، التنمية المستدامة.
We are also working on development projects in the same places where the refugees are coming from, so that we try, when we send them back, we make sure that they are in a secure place.
نحن not working يعني نحن تحدثنا مع كثير من الدول الأوروبية حول مشروعات.
So we have spoken with several EU countries with regards to projects such as these.
يعني مستقبلية لتعالج مشاكل هؤلاء
future projects that can solve such an issue.
ولكن تظل مشروعات تحدثنا عنها ولم تتحقق حتى الآن.
These projects have not been implemented. Yes, they are still talks.
Prime Minister, Memorandum of Understanding set a particular time frame when it comes to oil prices.
Okay. The Memorandum of Understanding is valid in whatever situation, for the simple reason that it takes as a standard the Platts price. So it is not time sensitive.
طبعا هذه اتفاقية إطارية يعني لم تدخل في التفاصيل، احنا اتفقنا على المبادئ العامة للتعاون.
It's a framework agreement. We haven't gone into detail on the implementation yet.
لكن بكل تأكيد هي مهمة وسيتم ستوضع التفاصيل من خلال الوزراء ووزراء القطاعات لتأكيد تفاصيلها من خلال اتفاقيات لاحقة.
But for sure it is of great importance, and we will go into detail more through the various ministries that are related to the agreement that was just signed.
The next step will be the joint commission meeting, which will go into ironing out the details. We have set the targets, we have set the aims, we have set actually quite specific points where we will arrive. Now the meetings will set out to determine the levels of supply, the modality of supply, how these shipments will arrive in Malta, when the Libyan counterparts will be able to supply them, that kind of thing. But as Prime Minister Zaidan said, the key points, the framework agreement when it comes to basically the supply at a determined price of related to Platts and the credit terms of oil products, crude oil, processed oil, diesel, petrol, jet fuel, and LPG have been decided. As the Prime Minister correctly said, the details will be ironed out by the ministries. What I really appreciate is the fact that the Prime Minister has said both privately and publicly that Libya intends to address these issues in an expedite manner. And I think we were, and I would like to conclude on this point again, we are very grateful that only a couple of weeks after our visit to Tripoli, we came out with this agreement in a very almost record-breaking time. So I do appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.